EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Martin here with your outlook for December 29th, 2020. For your Tuesday, expecting mostly sunny skies and colder temperatures compared to what we had yesterday. We actually had a pretty nice afternoon yesterday with temperatures in many areas getting to the 50-degree mark or above. And, pretty nice day to go out for a walk. I know my wife went out for a walk yesterday on the trail nearby our house. So, it was a great time to get out. And today will be much colder. Okay, so we'll have mostly sunny skies, but much colder conditions. Kind of near to slightly below average for highs today, and then we'll be down into the 20-degree mark or thereabout on either side of 20 degrees for overnight lows under mostly clear skies overnight tonight. Now, moving forward here, a very interesting thing coming up here for the holiday. So we have first Wednesday, we have a partly to mostly cloudy day here with temperature going to be increasing a little bit back to near average for this time of year for the highs on Wednesday. With the system moving off to our north, high pressure is going to move off to the east. So partly cloudy skies to start the day on Wednesday and then becoming mostly cloudy later in the day ahead of this next system, which is going to be a cold front. Now, this first cold front is right here, okay, and this is going to come through during the day on Thursday. However, it doesn't have much moisture with it, not hardly any. I mean, it has less than 1/10 of an inch of total rainfall with it. It should be mostly a rain thing. You see it goes through our area, but there's the lightest green, shaded green we have here. And that's mainly on Thursday morning for most areas. Further south, it will continue into the afternoon. Okay, then this frontal boundary, see what the frontal boundary is here very clearly. Okay, it's right here where I'm moving my cursor back and forth. That's where the cold front is. It's going to move just south of the Mason-Dixon line, just south of southern Delaware, in fact, by the time we get to Thursday night. So Thursday night, of course, is New Year's Eve. So if you have plans on New Year's Eve, which I know you should probably not have plans on New Year's Eve with other people, according to what the law says, but, hey, if you are, more power to you. Thursday evening should be dry. Okay, so this is looking at Thursday evening right here. You have dry conditions, except for a slight chance of a shower still occurring down here in our far southern areas in our coverage area, and that's it. All right, so New Year's Eve should be pretty dry, and actually most of the overnight period should also be dry. Now, this system out here to the west, this is going to be our main system. It's going to have a warm front with it here. Warm front extends out here like this. Okay. This is going to push that cold front that moved through on Wednesday night back northward as a warm front, and that's this right here. So moving this general direction. At the same time, because there's this delay, and you can see the timestamp here, this is looking at very early Friday morning. Very early. Okay, so this is looking at actually 7 a.m. That's your time frame. At the same time, look what happens up here. Because that's delayed a little bit, it allows this high pressure to set up over the top of this system. So that brings in a cold air damming situation where you have cold air coming in at the surface, wrapping in like this. Okay, so you're going to have a damming situation here where these areas north of that line there, or generalized line there, that's a very poor drawing, but you get the idea. There's a very, in the interior, closest to that high pressure, are going to have this CAD situation, cold air damming, and that's going to keep temperatures at the surface below freezing while warmer air aloft is overriding that colder air at the surface. And that's going to give us some freezing rain. So we're going to have that freezing rain issue, it looks like, on Friday morning. And you can see that here. The GFS is actually quite enthused with this, not only with the areas further south than most other guidance, but also the amounts. I wouldn't really focus on amounts too much here, but you can see, again, actually it wasn't really drawn too bad. This is where the GFS has the warm front. This is the system here. The warm front is situated like this, and it's a little bit of, you have that bend and kink here because of that high pressure off the north, funneling that cold air in at the surface, and you're getting that freezing rain here. Warm air overriding colder air at the surface. So here is that freezing rain going into the morning on Friday, and then that starts to lift off to the north, and the cold air is going to erode at the surface eventually, and it's going to do so from southwest to northeast, and you're going to have any freezing rain changing over to rain. So we could have a tough go at it here on New Year's Day, at least for the first half of the day, or at the very least the morning on Friday, which is New Year's Day. I don't think you have issues on New Year's Eve. The front's going to come through. You're just going to be kind of cloudy, mostly cloudy overnight, and that's it. And temperatures are going to drop down significantly enough so that by the time we get to Friday morning, the precipitation comes in, you're below freezing, barely, but still below freezing, enough to get freezing rain. So this is going to be a concern. If we get over to the GFS areas here of total freezing rain accrual, it says accumulated here, but this is freezing rain accrues. So this is where it has the areas that are getting into this freezing rain. I would say that these areas right here are probably the areas that are going to get accumulating freezing rain. I know it has these amounts on here. Further south here, I would think there's a trace amounts below that line. I think the areas that we have to watch here are especially the valley areas and the elevated areas. So the elevated valley areas like Lehigh Valley here, back here in the lower Susquehanna Valley, you have to watch for icing hanging on in the valleys a little bit longer there. And also the areas of higher elevation. You see it's focusing on these higher elevation areas are out here. Also across the Poconos and parts of the Poconos and up into the Catskills here. So there's some areas that it's focusing on here. We're going to narrow this down when we get closer. Right now it's a little bit too far away to get specific, but that's the general idea. Okay, and this is going to change over to rain. We know that because the temperatures at the surface are going to warm, and it's going to allow this to change over to plain rain. Not extremely heavy. Generally, total precipitation between freezing rain and rain combined for this whole 2-day period is somewhere between an inch and a half. Not a tremendous amount. We're not dealing with a lot of flooding because it's a 2-day total for one, and two, we don't have a snowpack situation where you have the rapid snow melt that exacerbated the situation last week. We don't have that this week, so I think it's just rain and that's it. Then this system moves off. We have an upper level low that's going to trail in behind it. We've got to watch that because we have an offshore low here that the GFS is suggesting this is going to remain separate, though the European model does not, and it brings some rain or snow showers here on Sunday. So we have to watch that. Right now, on our Sunday forecast, we have partly to mostly cloudy, watching an offshore low, so we really don't know what it's going to do just yet. I would favor a miss in these two staying separate, but either way, you're going to have partly to mostly cloudy skies here on Sunday, even if it does miss, and you might have a stray rain or snow showers as upper level low pulls through, and then back to partly cloudy skies here on Monday. So we're going to monitor this situation for New Year's Day and make sure we're on top of it as far as freezing rain, where it occurs, and how much. Right now, if I'm going to favor an area, I would say I-78 and north for that to occur in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. This is generally I-78, kind of like that. So anywhere north of there, I think, is game for some at least minor accumulations of ice. I think once you get in the elevations, you have a better chance of seeing some freezing rain accrual that might be a little bit more than just minor. And we also have to watch the valley areas. So that would be Lehigh Valley kind of right in here, lower Susquehanna Valley right over in these areas. So we have to watch these areas, especially Wyoming Valley up in these regions. There's a lot of different valley locations we have to watch out for. And we'll, of course, narrow that down when we get a little bit closer. Don't pay attention to amounts of freezing rain just yet. Again, once we have more information getting a little bit closer, this is a short-term type projection. We'll have any maps needed for it and make sure you're well aware of what's happening here on the holiday itself on New Year's Day. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Marchers. That is your outlook for December 29, 2020. Have a great Tuesday.